In 138 BC, the Han court sent an envoy west with what sounded like a simple mission: find a distant people called the Yuezhi, convince them to join Han China against the Xiongnu. But Zhang Qian never reached them. He was captured, and for more than 10 years, he could not leave. Then he escaped, and instead of going home, he kept going west. He crossed lands few people at the Han court knew in any detail. He finally found the Yuezhi. They said no. Then, on the way home, he was captured again. By the time Zhang Qian returned to Han territory, 13 years had passed. His mission had failed, but the journey was about to matter far more than anyone expected. 1. A mission through enemy territory. To understand why, look at the map. Han China faced a powerful rival to the north, the Xiongnu, a confederation that controlled huge areas of the steppe and repeatedly threatened the Han frontier. Far to the west lived the Yuezhi. The Han had heard that the Xiongnu had defeated them and driven them from their old homeland. That gave Emperor Wu an idea. If the Yuezhi still wanted revenge, perhaps they could attack the Xiongnu from the west while Han forces attacked from the east. There was only one problem. To reach the Yuezhi, the envoy first had to cross territory controlled by the Xiongnu. Zhang Qian volunteered. There were no reliable maps showing him a clean route across Central Asia. His destination had moved, and the people he was looking for were somewhere beyond enemy territory. He left from the Han frontier with a group of men, including a guide named Ganfu. They did not get far. 2. Captured. The Xiongnu captured them and brought Zhang Qian before their ruler, the Chanyu. The mission should have ended there. Instead, it simply stopped. For more than 10 years, Zhang Qian lived among the Xiongnu. He married there. According to the Han histories, he still kept the credentials of his mission. Year after year passed. The Yuezhi were still somewhere beyond the horizon. Imagine what that did to the original plan. The emperor who sent him was hundreds of miles away. The political situation could change. The people he was searching for could move again, and Zhang Qian had no idea if he would ever be allowed to leave. Then, after more than a decade, he found an opportunity. He escaped. 3. He kept going west. And this is where the story becomes strange. Home was to the east. His mission had already cost him more than 10 years of his life. The obvious choice was to go back. Zhang Qian went west. He was still trying to find the Yuezhi. That single decision turned a failed mission into one of the most remarkable journeys recorded in early Chinese history. Now the map began to open. 4. The world beyond Han China. Zhang Qian reached Dayuan in the Fergana Valley. From there, he moved through Kangzhou and finally reached the Yuezhi, who had migrated much farther west. He also traveled to Daxia, the region Chinese sources associated with Bactria. What he encountered was not one empty stretch of wilderness beyond China. There were settled communities, rulers, cities, markets, horses, crops, merchants, and trade. And the network did not stop where Zhang Qian stopped. People told him about lands farther west and south. One detail must have been especially striking. In Daxia, Zhang Qian reportedly saw goods from southwestern China. They had reached Central Asia without passing through the Han routes he knew. That meant exchange was already happening across connections the Han court did not control and barely understood. Zhang Qian had gone west looking for one people. Instead, he was discovering a much larger world, but he still had to complete the mission. 5. They said no. At last, Zhang Qian found the Yuezhi. After captivity, after escape, after crossing Central Asia, now he could finally make the offer he had carried all this way. Join the Han. Attack the Xiongnu. The answer was no. The Yuezhi had settled in a rich new homeland. They were no longer eager to return east and fight the enemy that had driven them away. Zhang Qian stayed for a time, trying to persuade them. He failed. Think about that. He survived the hardest part of the journey. He found the people everyone was looking for. And the actual diplomatic mission still achieved nothing. So Zhang Qian turned toward home. 6. Captured. Again. This time, he tried a more southerly route, hoping to avoid the Xiongnu. It did not work. He was captured again. Captured. Again. He spent roughly another year in Xiongnu hands. Then the Chanyu died. Political disorder broke out, and Zhang Qian found another chance to escape. This time, he went east. 7. 13 years later. Zhang Qian finally returned to Han territory with Ganfu and his Xiongnu wife. It had been about 13 years since the mission began. The alliance never happened. If you judge the expedition by its original goal, it was a failure. But Zhang Qian had brought something back that the Han court had never asked him to find. Information. He could describe states far beyond the frontier. He had learned where some of them were, how they were connected, what they traded, and what kinds of political and military powers existed there. The West was no longer just a blank space beyond the Xiongnu. It was becoming a map, a political map, a commercial map, a map of possibilities. 8. The failure that changed history. In the years that followed, the Han sent more envoys west. Military campaigns changed control of important corridors. Political contacts expanded. Long-distance exchange grew across routes connecting China with Central Asia and lands farther west. Zhang Qian did not invent those routes. People had moved goods, animals, technologies, and ideas across Eurasia long before his journey. And nobody in 138 BC called this network the Silk Road. That name came much later. But Zhang Qian's mission became one of the major turning points in the history of those connections. He went west looking for one military alliance. He never got it. Instead, after 13 years, 2 captures, 2 escapes, and a diplomatic failure, he came home with a new picture of the world beyond China. The mission failed. The journey did not. And the routes it helped reveal would become part of what we now call the Silk Road.